Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. We are reporting in from MWC 15, Mobile World Congress, here in Barcelona in Spain, and I'm talking with Claus Pedersen. Claus, welcome. You are Director, HP Servers, Telecoms and NFV segment at HP.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how the server market is going now that we are seeing convergence between the traditional telecoms market and the IT market, where servers traditionally have been a lot more of them, they've been cheaper, they've had a different kind of functions. How do you bring enterprise economics to the telco sector?
Well, it's actually something we've been doing for a long time. We've been leading the industry in terms of making sure that our server technology fundamentally is designed with telecom in mind, and thereby what we do is we take all the leverage we get from the IT industry in terms of innovation, volume, and by doing just a few things we can then apply those same servers into the telecom industry. So the telecom industry ends up getting all of that without having to pay for the R&D, etc., if you will. So that's how we bring the value in, and it's something we have been doing for a very long time. The last 15 years or so is how we built that base we now have in the industry and become the leading supplier of enterprise servers into the telco industry. It obviously requires us to do a few things, such as making sure that those servers fits in with the operational processes of the carriers. That means typically a longer life of the server, and also making sure they fit into the environmentals that a telco server has to withstand, which is different from a standard data center. So there's standards such as SNAPS, NETSI, that we have to meet, and we make sure our servers do that. But we design it in right from the beginning, so it doesn't provide any incremental cost to our customers.
Can you give us some sort of direct examples of what a difference would be between a telco sector server and an enterprise server? Presumably it has to stay up longer and better, or something like that. What quantifiable difference is there?
Well, actually at the server level, there isn't functionally that much different. We make sure there are things like minus 48 volt power supplies and other somewhat boring items. But really what we've done is we have worked with especially the large equipment providers that are good customers of ours, and they have moved their software over to our servers in order to provide the benefit to their customers. And that really a lot of the things that traditionally had to be solved in proprietary hardware, the industry has figured out how to use enterprise servers and resolve that in software, such as the availability. You use multiple servers and make sure if one goes down, the other one takes over the workload. But it's really handled at the software level. And this is when you look at NFV, that's really just taking the next step in that direction and bringing, even at the software level, more standardized IT software into the world of telecommunication. And that way you open up the ecosystem for more innovation and new suppliers as well. But a customer that buys a server from HP that is designed for telco is really buying a server that also was designed for enterprise. But we just make them solid enough that they can withstand both environments.
But the rationale behind this is more than a simple repackaging one thing to one industry, one thing that fits one industry to fit another.
Yes, absolutely, especially now that we are all talking about NFV. We've gone from focusing on qualifying the hardware, if you will, and making sure that that was the right had the right properties. We developed a very large lab now that are focusing on all the enabling software, such as packet processing. Our NFV organization does a lot of work around the carrier grade OpenStack. We are qualifying various operating systems and other technologies that are necessary to enable the wider ecosystem to bring innovation into the telco industry and bring those applications into the carrier networks. So we work with a whole bunch of partners, including Intel, which is a close partner of ours, Wind River. So we work with a lot of partners, including Intel, to bring the technology together. Wind River is one of the Intel businesses that we also work closely with because of their operating system capabilities. But we also work directly with end customers through this lab, because where the rubber meets the road is out when you actually deploy these systems, run the POCs, and the industry is still learning how to bring this together. So my engineering teams are in close contact with many of our lead customers, and you've seen an announcement here at the show who some of those are,
Yep.
in order to learn from those engagements and make sure we continue to optimize the platform for their use and for NFV. On top of that, HP also have our NFV organization that has a series of labs where we work with application partners and bring those in, qualify them on our platforms, and again help customers bring up proof of concepts and take risk out of their deployment through those engagements throughout the world.
So basically, Klaus, customers can collaborate with you. They can work on providing solutions that they want. But it's not just done in one place. You don't have to go to Palo Alto to do it. They can do it in various parts of the world.
Yes, our NFV labs are present in all geographies, and we even have labs we have running with other partners as well, such as the Israeli Mobile Association that we work closely with, and so when people come into that lab, they are working with HP and as part of that ecosystem.
Now, you mentioned briefly before openness, and I want to come back to that because one of the things we've seen, NFV has sprung from nowhere in less than just over 2 years, from a mad gleam in a scientist's eye, it's centre stage.
Yeah.
Just like that, very, very quickly indeed. And of course, a lot of the new notion of the virtualized intelligent network is predicated on the concept of openness.
Yeah.
Open standards, open source, etc. Why is that so important?
Well, if you think of the IT industry and how things work there, I always draw the analogy with the clutch in the car, that when you look at this hardware technology, the middleware, the OpenStack, things like that, and then the application themselves, they're really at least those 3 layers of technology, and it can evolve independently. Right? So the hardware vendors like HP, our servers, we can improve on the servers, make them deliver more at lower cost, at lower cost of ownership in terms of power, etc., without affecting the software layers. Similarly, the application can evolve without you having to go and replace the server. Now, that's how the IT industry has worked for years and years.
Yeah.
And what that means is not only do you get that independent evolution of the layers, you get independent competition in those layers, both in terms of innovation in the layer, but also in terms of price. And that's really what NFV is all about, is bring that model to telecommunication and open up that ecosystem. For very good reason, historically, even when you use standard servers in telecommunication, you would take your application, you would lock it down on a server or a set of servers because the reliability requirements were such that, and performance requirements such you couldn't do it any other way.
Right.
But the IT industry has delivered so much in terms of performance and reliability over the last few years that the carriers that initiated NFV were willing to say, okay, we're at a point now where we can break this open. We'll insist on breaking it open through NFV, and therefore get some of the benefits from the IT industry with its larger ecosystem of suppliers, more competition, more agility in bringing new services to market, and therefore creating more revenue.
As the viewers can obviously see and hear, we're at Mobile World Congress. It's a huge show yet again.
Yep.
The usual buzz, the usual hype, everything else. This is 2015. Let's look forward a year, because this industry is moving so quickly, it's practically impossible to look further forward than that. What do you think is going to be the difference as far as HP is concerned and as far as the industry in general is concerned between Mobile World Congress this year and next? What's going to be the main thrust of the industry over the next 12 months?
It's very hard to say. I think if I knew, I would be paid more money than I am. But
And me.
but I think last year it was all about getting POCs in and testing things out.
Absolutely.
We're starting to see the early deployment, real commitment
Yep.
to NFV as a way forward. And I think what will change from now to 16 is the carriers that are leading the way will start to figure out how to also absorb the necessary organizational process changes that is required to really make the most of NFV. This is not about a technology replacement. It's about re-establishing a whole new way of building, running, managing telecommunications infrastructure with much richer services than we've seen before. And I think the focus will be on how do you manage that also organizationally to make a success of the investment in NFV.
A lot of people have spoken to me over the past month saying the technology isn't necessarily the hardest part. It is going to be that cultural change within organisations to be able to accept the change, to be able to capitalise on what the change can bring.
I absolutely agree. It's like that with any big change in an organization, that you will find all sorts of resistance you didn't expect. You'll get all sorts of surprises you wished didn't happen as you're changing things. But I think as an industry, we see the value in what we are doing here. It's going to bring those benefits, and we're willing to deal with the bumps in the road along the way. I see that from every carrier. There's nobody that questions whether this is something that should be done. It's how do you navigate your journey towards those endpoints.
Well, let's hope we both meet again in 12 months' time. We're both still hale and hearty, and we can look back on 15 and look forward to 17. Until then, Claus Pedersen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.